I think there was a queue at the coffee lounge, so that's probably why everybody's not here. Well, shall we start? Anyway, well, we are now going on with our presentation for this morning on the question of well-being and protection. And we welcome today Pascale Rolin-Serrier, who as she said before, she works at the CNIL, with the Committee for, what do you say?
The French Data Protection Authority.
French Data Protection Authority. And she also works at the international level as well.
Also,
you worked and you've produced a framework for data protection and training for data protection as well. So I'm not going to say what you're going to say. All right. So Pascale.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Sorry, I didn't prepare many PowerPoints because I didn't know in 10 minutes it might be short, but this is the last part of the presentation, but which is very relevant for us as well. So my subject, to touch upon a few issues, will insist on students' personal data and digital resources for school, and presenting the French experience by CNIL. So first, thank you for inviting the CNIL, to share with the audience its expertise, projects, and also experience in digital education. This is a domain which has been considered as a priority by our chair, Isabelle Falk-Pierrotin, who created, as soon as 2012, a small department with a small team dedicated to digital education for both national and international levels. So we are two with my colleagues, and so we are very enthusiastic about this scope of action. So first, I would like to insist on the protection of students' data. CNIL always paid particular attention to the protection of data of minors, and this is reflected in particular regarding the many initiatives we have launched to develop and to disseminate a wide range of digital education resources to enhance also digital citizenship education. So we have created a EDUCNUM website. EDUCNUM website, most content are in French, but we have a lot of videos protecting youth people, comics, cartoons, manuals, online games, posters, and lessons plans. So this is a very complementary basis to EduSchool and to other European national platforms. So also this attention to minors has also been reflected in the many opinions CNIL delivered on major applications and educational services platforms developed by the national education authorities. So we just talked about it, about the virtual learning environment, the Educational Resource Access Manager, the ERAM, but we also provided opinions on the Digital Unique Scholarly Evaluation Report for primary and lower secondary schools, for the draft charter of confidence for the digital service in education. So it means we are closely connected to the projects which are being launched by the Ministry of Education. So in this regard, the European Data Protection Regulation that will be applicable in May 2018, while strengthening the rights of individuals, this is obvious, aims also to provide special protection to children's data, and by introducing a number of new rights and guarantees in relation to the offer of information society services directly to a child. So this will be a big issue to develop in the months to come, in the years to come. So confronted with these challenges, educational matters are increasingly referred to by teachers and school administrators who are concerned about what happens to digital pupils and students' data, who are also requesting for clear guidelines for their pedagogical use of online educational services offered more or less free on the market. So we think that finally special attention should also be paid to the concrete measures implemented to inform minors, their parents, we discuss about it with Clémy as well, and the educational staff in full transparency, because the conditions of the use of their data and means available needs to be more clear, how they can exercise their rights or their parents or on their behalf. So these are many issues we discuss with our stakeholders, our partners. In its letter to the French Ministry of Education, the CNIL pointed that regarding the draft Charter of Confidence for Digital Education, it was an interesting initiative, but it was necessary also to consider to set up a binding legal framework for both providers, private actors, and educational authorities, enabling the development of digital practices at schools while protecting effectively students' and teachers' data as well. So this legal binding, for instance, should consist in prohibiting the use of students' data for commercial purposes, setting conditions for hosting such data, either in France or in Europe, this could be discussed about, and creating obligations to take security and safety measures complying with the prevailing standards. So on this issue of e-learning platforms, I think it's interesting for you to know that I'm coordinating an international working group of data protection authorities composed of some 50 members, 50 data protection authorities worldwide. And with our colleague of Canada, we have just launched a survey on the practices related to the massive use by these e-learning platforms and online educational services with regard to privacy. So this study is available on the international website ECDPPC, and it's available. And next step will be probably to consider about producing a common document designed to frame educational platform services through high-level protection measures and based on the model of some advanced expertise of certain countries. So this is in the track, and we are conducting this work and maybe a future resolution with our Canadian colleagues. So it means this is a worldwide issue and not only a European one. Regarding a few words regarding training intended to teachers, we are aware that there are many interesting quality teaching materials available to teachers. But we highlighted in our digital education working group that there was basically a real lack of training for educators regarding data protection and privacy. And this put, in our opinion, a very tall brake on the dissemination of digital resources. That's why in this purpose, there were two major focus. First, the signing of a partnership agreement between CNIL and the French Ministry of National Education in 2016 on the responsible and informed uses as citizens of digital technology at school. So it means this convention provides, among others, awareness seminars, modules, face-to-face training activities aimed to teachers, but also to directors, and on the whole territory via academics, so the Region Education Administration. Furthermore, continuous training modules on the protection of personal data will also be soon available online, including a specific magister. Maybe you have heard about this magister pass. This is typical at the French system, and this is for training teachers, and one will be available on the new European legal framework. We are working on that with our partner of the Ministry of Education. So, and another way for providing content for the teachers was to develop an innovative approach with an international competency framework for teaching school students on data protection and privacy, intending to educators. This didn't exist earlier. You have a lot of competency frameworks on digital education at large or digital culture, but on data protection and privacy, we thought we were the best concerned to provide the content and work with our worldwide colleagues on a common base, which has been adopted worldwide in 2016. And the next objectives, the next step is to have it implemented in the curricula and study programs. So, you have already had a look at this competency framework, which consists of 9 key data protection competencies. This was not easy to sum up the whole package in 9 competencies, but the 9 ones are considered, the knowledge and understanding is considered as a priority. And in the competency framework, you have each key competence developed in knowledge, attitude, skills, what has to be known and acquired by students. So next step anyway, is to have it introduced in curricula and studying programs. And we are working on this with the Ministry of Education in a partnership with also a pedagogical expert. We are trying to give access to all available resources by age groups, because this is a general framework. It has to be organized by age groups for schools, for primary, secondary schools. And all subject matters will be complemented with resources and will sense-making practices available to teachers so that it's easier for them in their lesson plans to integrate with digital literacy, also some focus on data protection and privacy issues. This is so close. So this project is expected to be achieved this year. It's essential for us to work in close cooperation with the Ministry of Education, to raise interest also of directors, principals of schools, inspectors, and engage schools, and to support teachers in the development and implementation of these competencies on personal data within the general digital culture. So I think, as a short conclusion, I could say that the French experience suggests that development and education-based approach in synergies with public authorities, but also schools, parents, associations, and other training organizations, combined with a strong legal framework to protect minors, might prove effective to provide young people with the key competencies they need to get prepared for their digital citizenship in the 21st century. Thank you for your attention. If you have any questions.
Yes, I would like to insist on that partnership we have with the CNIL on all sorts of subjects, and especially the subject of training students to those competencies. That's right. You'll find the framework on your stick in English and in French.
And it's getting translated by some countries in Polish, in Catalonia, in Albanian, and so on. So all are responsible for providing it in their own language for their own Ministry of Education and teachers.
I just wanted to add to this. Many of you might know the Digital Competence Framework for Citizens that the European Commission has created and JRC has worked on. It also has the part on privacy and personal data. And we have looked at this framework, and when we do the new revision, we will very much take this into account. Of course, we don't need to go as far in this topic as they have gone, but definitely to make sure that we are fully aligned with it. It's a very, very thorough piece of work, and it goes in the same line of the DICCOM framework, so it's a very complementary.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Sometimes very difficult for the teachers to find their way through the different frameworks. So this is the work we're doing together to
Yeah.
try to explain to teachers how they can use the different frameworks to
Yes,
deal
and not
their
with
classroom.
additional constraint or
Yes.
new
Mhm.
competency frameworks, which would
Because
be
we-
additional
yeah.
to their programs.
Yeah, with plenty of tools, but
Yes.
we have to help them to take them into their classroom
Yes.
and use them. All right. Are there any questions? Yeah.
I was interested if you think it's a problem if the teachers use the pupils' data also at home and also on their own devices. Because we have a school cloud project in Germany which was kind of stopped because the data protection office said, well, maybe there could be some problems. How do you see that? Thank you.
Thank you for your question. You know, regarding Germany, as far as I know, my German colleagues in charge of education have developed an working paper, which is framing also the content on how to use data, how to use what kind of applications might be used in which conditions. So this has been developed by the German Conference of Education. So it's under the leadership of Thüringer. So okay, maybe this might be helpful for you because we think it's a good framework. We are also considering in our international work with Canada. So regarding using, this is the issue of bring your own device. So bring your own device or have some exercises done home for the school. So, and on this issue, we think that the best approach is to have the ERAM, the model of the ERAM framework, to have, of course, to facilitate digital work home for children, for pupils, even for the teachers, but also within a legal framework, because the risk is to have the data stored in the cloud, and somewhere in the cloud, it doesn't mean systematically Europe or France. So I don't know if in Germany, if you have the same ERAM system framing the use of applications dedicated for schools and for lessons. I think this is a good example we could also reproduce.
We are here to share good practices.
Yes.
That's one we can share with you, of course.
Do you have anything more about the work that led to that ERAM system? Because there's probably a lot of negotiations that you had to be doing, and so any practices about that to be shared?
Yes, Corinne, I think Corinne can tell you a lot about the different negotiations and all the work that has to be done before. Nobody believes it would happen. In fact, nobody believed in the ERAM, and we've got
Really?
it now.
Yeah.
No, nobody.
Except us.
A lot of questions and a lot of work to do.
We have had 2 years of consultation with my colleague Mary, with everybody, local authorities, associations of local authorities. Users. The users wanted a system like that. Publishers, everybody. 2 years of consultation, and we had all the list of the issues to find a solution for protection of personal data and technical, the two of them, to make the. And after the minister took the decision, ends of 2014, November, exactly, and we began really in November 2017, 2 years and a half. It needs a big un budget, a lot of money too.
Yeah.
20 people working in Renater and at the ministry and everybody. It's
Not
20
full-
people
not
team.
Full time, but
Yeah, yeah.
20 people.
So it's
Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. But it's exactly what the users say. It's exactly what they needed.
But
And if I can just add a chance, and for now, as we said, and the example of the Banque de Ressources is a good is also. Yes, and I know that it's for answering. The Banque de Ressources, we can measure that with the IRAM and with the VLE, we have increased the consultation and the using of the BRNE in some place, just like in the Grand Est Académie de Strasbourg we showed to this morning. And then I can think we can multiply by 10 the uses and the users when we have this IRAM and VLE and good training and teachers accompanied, and then we are in a legal frame also to do this. So it's a big challenge. We have all yet to improve it, but even the publishers, even the companies says to us, it's very good. It's very good now. They don't want to come at the beginning because they have to support and to make some efforts to come. But for now, they are saying to us, for example, there is only one connector, I don't know the connection, and not many connectors, so, and one-to-one, just like we say to EduTech, not one-to-one, but all together, and so it's simplify, but a big work to do. So.
I just wanted to ask, we are quite new in this in Croatia, we are just starting to apply GDPR rules. What I want you to know, how long do you store the data? So you archive the data from IRAM and VLE. For how long? Is it for always, or you erase the data after some time?
It depends on the data. We have new resources like BRNE with new programs in France that last not 1 year, one scholar year, but a cycle.
Yes.
2 or 3 years.
3
So
years,
we
yes.
ask
The
the
end.
SNIL if we can keep the data for the lasting of this special resource.
Yeah.
If it's a resource for 1 year, it's erased after
Yes,
1 year.
this is a
And about the logs of connection, it's always like the law asks, 6 months, and just for justice research,
Yes.
things like that. Technical people can go
Yes.
through the.
But when
go
it is
through the logs.
anonymized for research, further research.
Yeah, but how, for example, how then if it's erased after 6 months, especially log data, how can you say that someone participated in some course and achieved this grade if you don't have any more data on his participation?
The logs are different from the data stocked in the
Base.
In the base. The works are attached to the identifier, anonymous identifier, on the platform of the publisher. It's not the log of the IRAM. It's two different things. The logs are the access.
So there's no data you store permanently about students, about pupils and their grades, and
Permanently, no. You have
No.
to erase each year.
but how
And-
can you say,
and
for
keeping
example, if
on-
someone in 2008 had gone to the course or in the school, how can you verify that?
It's anonymous. You've got the statistics.
But
With a number
for
or-
exact person, how can you say if he was in 2008 at this school and at this subject and this grade that he got it? How can you, if you don't store the data more than?
You store the data in the VLE. In the VLE,
Yes.
you've got storing of the data, the time the pupil stays in the same school,
Mhm.
and the CNIL asks to not to keep everything,
Yeah.
to keep
Depends on
what
sensitivity.
is has to be kept, what is really necessary.
For learning purposes or for being stored for a while, as long as the pupil will get students and doesn't need it anymore. So this but
Yes. Yes. For example, after 10 years, someone can ask, "Can you verify that this person has gone to this school and achieved
maybe
this grade?"
The
maybe
school,
we
yes.
can speak after the last presentation, if I
Yeah.
just to keep the time.
Yeah.
Thanks.
But this is the opportunity to say that we don't always comply with the Ministry of Education, you know. It's a very big issue, all these technical virtual learning systems. And it means so sometimes there are commissioners who are responsible for providing positive or negative approval, also ask for some more controls or for some more checks or for some more guarantees, and it takes time to discuss this issue. This is not so easy to manage the interest of children and the protection of their data. Thank you. I think this is...
Thank you, Laura. Just a very short question. It just turned to my mind that for higher education students, we have a log name in Hungary because they are adults. When you developed IRAM, have you used something like examples from higher education data protection, higher education data usage for students?
We are working on this issue. You mean it might be for learning analytics, you know, and this is another issue which is also being considered now between the French Ministry of Education, between the CNIL, between universities as well, because now this seems to be also a subject which needs to be framed regarding the data, the one which needs to be kept and stored, and the one for only learning purposes. So this is under development, if I can say.